There's this quiet question, isn't there? It lives inside most of us, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when someone we loved, a parent, friend, partner, even a pet isn't here anymore.
Yeah.
What are they doing now?
That absence, it's just universal, that ache. And it brings up these huge ancient questions. Are they watching? Are they resting?
Or maybe reborn somewhere?
Or just gone?
Yeah.
It's the big mystery.
And people have wrestled with this forever, right? For thousands of years.
Absolutely.
So that's what we're doing today. This is our deep dive. We're looking into all these different angles you pull together, old spiritual texts, modern stuff like near-death experiences. Even quantum physics gets a look in.
It does, yeah. Look, the goal isn't to land on the answer. Honestly, how could we?
Right.
But exploring all these different viewpoints, these sources, we can maybe pull out some really fascinating ideas. Open a door maybe to seeing death not just as the end.
Yeah, maybe it's more like a shift, a transformation.
Or even a new start. And what's interesting, reading through the material is this recurring idea, figuring out where the dead might be. What often tells us something really important about how to live now.
Okay. So where do we start? The sources seem to have a few really distinct paths.
They did. Let's start with one perspective that emphasizes rest, spiritual rest.
The idea of the sleeping soul. That crops up in quite a few religious traditions, doesn't it? I remember seeing references from early Christianity and Islam.
Exactly. The sources describe it not like being medically unconscious, but a really profound spiritual stillness.
Okay.
Like a holding space, maybe.
Yeah.
Between this life and whatever comes next. The soul isn't gone, it's not unaware, but it's protected, held in this divine peace.
And the key thing here for this view is that they're waiting.
Waiting, yes. For some kind of promised day, maybe a resurrection, maybe a cosmic renewal. And importantly, this view says the soul isn't, wandering around or watching us struggle.
Right.
It's resting in stillness, untouched by our confusion or pain down here.
Which, even though it feels like absence to us, I can see how that would become
immensely comforting for many, according to the source. The idea that loved ones are safe, still, free from pain. Just pause gently in this sacred quiet. Asleep in eternity, as some texts put it.
That image of peaceful waiting, it's a stark contrast to another big guide found, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. A complete flip, really. Many indigenous traditions, we saw examples from Africa, Asia, various shamanic paths they hold that the dead, well, they don't really leave at all.
The spirits that stay close.
Exactly. They're still near, walking beside us almost.
Yeah.
As ancestors, maybe guides, protectors. These traditions often see the veil between our world and the spirit world as thin, porous, not some solid wall.
And this isn't just a nice metaphor for them, is it? It's like a lived reality.
Deeply lived, yeah. It's woven into ceremony, into stories passed down, generations of experience. The sources talk about people seeing the dead clearly in dreams or noticing really strong synchronicities.
Like meaningful coincidences.
Yeah, right. Or just feeling a presence in a special place. One account mentioned an elder explaining how some spirits deliberately stay close, maybe to watch over the family line, ensure things are okay.
Which connects to those moments people sometimes describe, like you suddenly feel this warmth or you smell your grandmother's perfume out of nowhere.
Could it be more than just memory? That's the question this view raises. Maybe it's a real connection across time and spaces we normally understand it.
So death here is more like a doorway.
And love is the string that keeps us connected across that doorway.
Okay, let's shift gears again. There's a whole different track in the sources, looking more towards Eastern philosophy.
Right, reincarnation. That's central in Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, and pops up in some Western mystical ideas too.
And the core idea is?
The soul or consciousness is eternal. It cycles. It gets reused, essentially.
Driven by karma, right. And that cycle of samsara. Could you maybe quickly unpack those?
Sure. So karma, think of it like spiritual cause and effect. Your actions, intentions, they leave an imprint. And samsara is that ongoing cycle, birth, death, rebirth that the soul moves through. The idea is you carry that karma, those imprints, from one life into the next.
Okay, so in this view, the dead aren't resting or watching us from nearby.
Nope. They're busy. They're living again somewhere else.
Maybe as a child just born, or could it be someone we already know?
That's a possibility raised in some texts, yeah. That they're reborn, maybe even near us, and we just don't recognize the connection. They're working through lessons, maybe balancing out past actions, fulfilling agreements with other souls.
Wow. The sources mentioned this idea too, didn't they? That we might meet the same souls again and again, but in different roles?
Yeah. Like your father in one life might be your son in another. Your best friend becomes your teacher. It's like this grand cosmic drama, and we all keep swapping masks and parts.
It definitely offers a sense of continuity. Like the story just keeps going, and maybe no goodbye is truly final.
Definitely a sense of ongoing story. Now let's bring in something more modern, something that adds this really compelling emotional layer. Near-death experiences, NDEs.
Right. These are the accounts from people who were, clinically dead for a bit, heart stopped, brain activity may be gone, and then they came back. The sources had a lot on this.
They did. And what's striking is how similar the core elements often are, even across different cultures and backgrounds.
Like the tunnel. The bright light.
Yeah, often a tunnel, moving towards this incredibly brilliant, loving light. Many report meeting relatives who've passed on, or these beings made of light. And this overwhelming feeling, peace, unconditional love, it's apparently very hard to put into words.
And some talk about seeing their whole life flash by, but not in a scary way.
More with this incredible clarity, understanding, but without judgment. That's a common theme. Others mention meeting guides, beings who communicate telepathically, not with words.
Sharing insights about life's purpose, how everything's connected.
Exactly. Now, obviously, there's skepticism. Some scientists say it's just the brain shutting down neurological fireworks.
Sure.
But the sources also pointed out that many doctors and nurses who actually witness these things, they find them pretty challenging. They ask, how does a brain with basically no measurable activity generate these incredibly complex, coherent, and often life-changing experiences?
It's a fair question. So these NDE stories, what do they suggest about where the dead might be?
Well, they hint that maybe it's not silence or limbo or even just sleep. Maybe it's this incredibly vivid, loving state of awareness beyond our normal space and time, perhaps. Waiting or just being in that state.
And that idea of a different state of awareness, it actually connects, weirdly enough, to the next perspective, the really cutting edge stuff.
Quantum consciousness. Yeah, this is where science fiction starts to feel a little less fictional.
Very speculative, but fascinating. Some theories propose that consciousness isn't actually created by the brain.
Right, but maybe received by it, like a radio tuning into a broadcast signal.
Yeah. Okay, so if that wild idea holds any water,
then consciousness theoretically could persist after the receiver breaks down. It might just tune into a different frequency, a different dimension of reality.
Wow.
Some researchers mentioned in the material talk about the universe as this vast web of entangled information, where connections are instant across distance, and time isn't necessarily this straight line we experience.
So in that kind of universe, the dead aren't gone in the way we usually think.
They might just exist differently, in parallel dimensions maybe, layers of reality our senses just can't pick up. Not like ghosts floating around here, but more like patterns of consciousness continuing in another domain.
Which makes you wonder, maybe when you have that intense thought about someone or a really vivid dream or just feel them close.
Maybe it's not just memory playing tricks. Could it be some kind of resonance, a flicker of connection across these realities, real entanglement?
It's a mind-bending thought. And it leads to this paradox, doesn't it? Running through all these ideas, are they waiting for us somewhere? Or are they already here, just differently?
Maybe it's both. That's what feels compelling. Maybe they are waiting for us in some ultimate sense, but also maybe they're accompanying us right now.
Waiting for us to, what? To wake up?
Yeah, maybe waiting for us to really live fully, to stop being so afraid of death as just an ending, to recognize that maybe love, maybe that's the thing that doesn't die.
Because grief feels so final, it feels like they're gone forever.
It absolutely does.
Yes.
But then you have these countless stories across cultures, across centuries, like the sources show, people describing feeling their loved ones, subtle ways, but powerful.
That sudden idea that helps you solve a problem, a specific bird that keeps showing up.
A familiar scent, like we mentioned, a song on the radio at just the right moment, that weird feeling of warmth, like a hug.
And whether you call those signs or just your brain making connections or something else.
The impact is real, isn't it?
Yeah.
The sources suggest these moments often carry this sense of connection, this whisper that maybe it's not completely severed.
So the dead aren't just memories filed away.
They might be woven into who we are now, influencing us, guiding us maybe, still whispering, I'm here.
Let's get specific then. The sources talked about concrete ways this connection seems to happen for people. Dreams came up a lot.
Hugely common, yeah. And people often say, these dreams feel different.
And so?
Incredibly vivid, emotionally really powerful. There's this strange clarity, a feeling that the person is actually truly there with you.
Not just a regular dream character.
Right. Often it's simple stuff. They're just smiling or there's a hug, maybe a few words spoken very clearly. It feels less like fiction, more like a visit.
And lots of traditions see dreams that way, don't they? Like a portal.
Exactly. A space where the everyday mind quiets down and maybe we're more open, more receptive to, to other layers of reality or deeper parts of ourselves.
So whether it's an actual encounter or just our subconscious giving us what we need.
The effect is often profound healing, comfort, a sense that love really does reach across that boundary. It's like when our guard is down in sleep, maybe that connection can bubble up.
What about more conscious ways? Rituals came up too.
Oh, absolutely. Rituals of remembrance, they're everywhere across the globe.
Like Dia de los Muertos in Mexico. That seemed like a key example in the sources.
Yes, building those beautiful altars, the ofrendas, with photos, food, marigolds. It's not about mourning absence. It's about celebrating presence, welcoming the spirits back for a visit.
And the Oban Festival in Japan with the lantern.
Guiding the spirits home, honoring them, then guiding them back. These aren't just quaint customs. The sources really frame them as reflecting this deep understanding that the relationship doesn't end with death. It just changes form.
And maybe our simpler things, lighting a candle, telling a story about them, keeping a photo close, are kind of echoes of that.
I think so. There are ways we keep that connection alive, ways we acknowledge it. And in honoring them, we honor something in ourselves too, that capacity for love and memory that doesn't just vanish, it evolves.
The sources also touched on something harder, grief itself.
Yeah, grief often just feels like falling apart, doesn't it? Like the world ending. But there's this other thread in wisdom tradition, and even in some personal account, that grief, as painful as it is, can sometimes be this strange kind of doorway.
A doorway. How?
It can crack you open to deeper compassion, maybe. It forces you to confront impermanence, which can paradoxically make life feel way more precious, more sacred even. It reorders your priorities.
I remember reading about this idea of grief creating a thin space.
Yes, like the intensity of it, the rawness, somehow brings the soul of the person grieving closer to the soul of the one who passed.
That in that vulnerability, something else can emerge.
Something more than just sorrow. Maybe insight. Maybe a felt presence alongside the longing. The relationship isn't over. It's becoming something else. Quieter, maybe, but deeper.
And one last really intriguing point the sources raised involved children.
Ah, yes. How very young kids sometimes talk about relatives who've died as if they're still just around.
Often with startling details, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like the example given a toddler pointing at a photo, talking about the man who reads him stories at night. Or a child describing chats with a grandparent they logically never met.
So what is that? Imagination, things they've overheard, or
Or they genuinely perceiving something. Suggests kids are closer to that in-between space. They haven't built up the layers of skepticism and rigid categories that adults have.
they just observe, report.
Maybe. Maybe they haven't forgotten yet what it feels like to exist, where that line between life and death is a bit more porous, more playful even, lighter.
So pulling all these threads together, maybe the core question, what are the dead doing now, isn't really about finding their GPS coordinates in the cosmos.
Perhaps not. Maybe it's much more about our ongoing connection to them. That seemed to be a strong undercurrent in the source. Even if we never get a definitive answer about the beyond, their presence, their memory, it shapes us profoundly right here.
Yeah, they live on in how we make decisions, what we value, the phrases we catch ourselves saying that sound just like them.
The way we laugh, the way we love, even the things that still make us cry, that depth comes from the connection.
So whether you see them as actively guiding from somewhere else or just powerfully alive in memory and influence,
They're not really gone. They're part of who we're becoming.
which suggests maybe the real work isn't searching for them out there.
But learning to recognize them
Right.
here, the echoes, in the quiet moments, in the big choices woven into our lives.
So death isn't the end. It's this huge mystery, but a mystery that connects us all. What are the dead doing now?
Are they sleeping,
Right.
watching, living a new life, vibrating in some quantum field we can't yet grasp?
Maybe, like the sources suggest, it's not just one answer. Maybe it's all of the above, depending on the soul or your perspective, or who knows?
But maybe the what is less important than the why. Why do we still feel them? Why do we talk to them, miss them, remember them so fiercely?
Because something inside just refuses to believe love ends.
Exactly. That connection feels fundamental, unbreakable.
Maybe death isn't closing the book. Maybe it's just opening a door to something bigger, more mysterious, more beautiful even, than we can imagine right now.
And maybe, just maybe, that question, what are the dead doing now, ultimately points back to us. It asks you, the listener, how will you carry them forward? Not just as ghosts of the past, but as living forces within you, inspiring you to live with more love, more courage maybe, with a life that honors the connection that perhaps never really breaks at all.